Absolutely. I mean, there's some sort of poetic justice in the reality of Ryan Coogler's deal that he made with Sinners, where I think he retains ownership of it after 25 years or something, and the way that, certain people are interpreting the film as being blackballed. I've told the story before, but the best class I ever took was called The History of Black Music. When I was in college, I was actually a real life Van Wilder. I was in college for over 6 years, and I never really had a plan for my college experience to generate any sort of income postgraduate. I guess this was my autism taking everything literally. I was there to be educated, so I'd look at the syllabus and I would just take whatever class interested me. I ended up graduating because they invented a new degree called Literature, Culture, and Media, and they were like, yeah, with all these weird classes you've taken, you're basically one semester away from graduating, so I begrudgingly graduated. But the best class I ever took was at the University of Iowa. It was called The History of Black Music, and it was taught by this man, James McPherson, who was the first black man to win a Pulitzer Prize for writing fiction. He was there to run the Iowa Writers Workshop, which is way above kind of, undergrads, but I took it. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what it would be. I just knew it was interesting. But the class itself was insane, right? I mean, he was telling stories like, in the late 70s, I was interviewing Richard Pryor for Playboy while he was banging lines of heroin next to, this was class. But the overarching, story of the class to me was encapsulated in the nightclub scene, that kind of creates this almost psychedelic fever dream of black culture that has shaped American popular culture. Because what the history of black music was a way of telling the history of the United States of America. Right, beginning with Negro spirituals and the slave experience and preserving culture and also creating culture, right, which branches out into the disappointment manifested in the blues of Reconstruction and Jim Crow and all of these things, which then kind of branches out into the freedom of rock and roll and jazz that circles back around with hip hop. That's kind of a pastiche, to use a trendy academic word, of all of those different art forms. And I thought that scene really just encapsulated that. To me, it was not only the best scene of the year, but the best scene that I can possibly remember. This kind of seamless nightclub scene that is just telling us the story of culture, of a culture that has driven and defined so much of American culture. And again, this is what white supremacists hate so much, is the emptiness at the core of their culture. That I always used to joke, this term assimilation, we want other cultures to assimilate, so we're going to ask black people to assimilate into what? Listening to rock and roll? They fucking invented it. And so, yeah, Sinners was my favorite movie of the year so far, too. I haven't seen a bunch of them, but it's going to be hard to kind of supplant it.